Modernism, iron architecture. Modern architecture emerged at the end of the 19th century from revolutions in technology, engineering, and building materials such as cast iron, drywall, plate glass, and reinforced concrete to build structures that were stronger, lighter, and taller. Iron architecture emerged as a desire to break away from historical architectural styles and to invent something that was purely functional and new. It is called iron architecture due to constructions based on iron or a metallic structure as an architectural foundation. In engineering structures, cast iron was essential. For example, the iron bridge in Courbevoie and the Pont des Arts in Paris were forged in this material. Despite this early incorporation into engineering structures, iron as a building material was considered an element of bad taste among the most puritanical and academic. Its use was extended to industrial architecture, at first as a measure to prevent fires, very common since the invention of the steam engine and the fact that most buildings were built of wood. The first factory that did not introduce wood in its construction was the Ditherington flax mill in Ditherington. The model of the 19th century English factory was based on a cast iron beam or pillar structure with brick walls and vaults. This casting technique began to be massively implemented in urban furniture. Some of the little changes of architecture occur in small urban details such as the Fernandine streetlights in Madrid, in Paris the Wallace fountains, or the Morris columns. All these architectural hardware motifs had their origin in England, when lower cost imposed an eclectic popular aesthetic. The origins of monumental iron architecture were timid. An example of this was the dome of the Alobe by the Parisian architect François-Joseph Bélanger in 86. 16 years later, the church of San Leopoldo by Alessandro Manetti and Carlo Reichamer incorporates elements of exposed iron into ecclesiastical architecture for the first time. In here we can see the iron structure of the dome. There is also the Library of Saint-Geneviève in Paris. There is also the Library of Saint-Geneviève in Paris. This library was the first public building to use a metal structure that ran from the foundations to the roof. The glass vault was supported by iron arcs that rested on columns of the same material. With this, the architects managed to provide the entire library with light. Its interior stood out for not hiding the metallic skeleton that supported it, while the exterior was masked. The use of iron as an architectural material spread with the arrival of the Universal Exhibitions, events organized by different countries to show the world what were the scientific and technical advances of each state. Being spaces that had to house thousands of people and machines, they require large pavilions. That is why they were built with more advanced technical means and in search of maximum functionality. In this way, the great exponents of iron architecture begin to be seen. The first exhibition of these characteristics was held in London in 1851. Its promoters wanted the fair to have a great social impact. For this, they created the emblematic Joseph Paxton Crystal Palace, a large space in which hundreds of stands of different countries with technological innovations. This project was constituted as a novelty of the time, both for its external appearance and for the tendency to use new materials. With a clear influence of greenhouses, a large iron and glass nave was built on a traditional floor plan based on iron braces and glaze plates. It could be assembled and disassembled without being destroyed. The next step will be taken at the Paris exhibition in 1889 with the Gallery of Machines and the Eiffel Tower. The first is surprising for its dimensions, 420 meters long and 150 wide. That width is achieved by a single arc built by two half parabolas. Once again, they managed to create a quick and efficient assembly and disassembly of the space. For his part, Gustav Eiffel, an expert engineer in the construction of bridges and railway stations, started to build the Eiffel Tower. The tower consists of four giant arcs that rest on four pillars located at the vertices of the rectangle, and as the tower rises, the pillars rotate until they join into a single articulated element. It took 2 years to build, not without controversy. It was considered unsightly because it looked too much like a factory. When the project of the Eiffel Tower began, it was established a period of 20 years before the tower had been destroyed. However, 2 million people visited the tower during the Universal Exposition. Following this incredible success, the building became a symbol of French industrial power. Determined to avoid the tower's destruction, Gustav Eiffel went to prove its scientific utility. Scientific experiments were conducted in the fields of astronomy and physiology, but what will really save the tower in the end was its use as a radio antenna tower, first for military communications and then for permanent radiotelegraphic communications. In fact, the tower served many purposes during the First World War. And here are the references and some books. And thank you.